The innocent girl selling flowers stuns the millionaire, but what happens next will shock you. Lily stood on the corner, her breath fogging in the cold autumn air. Around her, skyscrapers clawed at the gray sky, their glass faces swallowing sunlight, casting long cold shadows over the city's rushing crowd. The streets below roared with the relentless footsteps, horns, and chatter. A river of busy lives moving too fast to notice one small flower stand. Her hands clasped the faded petals of daisies, roses, and wild asters. She smiled, a quiet, hopeful curve of her lips that cut through the city's bitter chill like a small flame. People rushed by, faces tight with deadlines and phone calls, eyes fixed straight ahead. No one slowed. No one cared about the gentle girl cluttered in soft scarves, offering color and warmth in a world glazed with gray. Then out of the crush came Ethan. He moved with a smooth, hard purpose, suit sharp, tie stiff, eyes locked on the sidewalk. Yet something made him stop right in front of her stand. He didn't glance away. Instead, he stared. There was a crack beneath his polished surface, a flicker of something fragile, waiting. Lily met his eyes, wide and unguarded, the kind that knew quiet hope and secret kindness. Her voice was soft, steady. "Good morning, sir. Would you like a flower? They're fresh today." Despite the chilly wind biting her cheeks, her smile never faded. Ethan's lips twitched as if trying to hold back something heavy buried in his chest. The city noise seemed to dim for a second, falling away into a hush between them. A flicker of recognition, or was it wonder, passed through his gaze. But beneath Ethan's carefully crafted calm, his heart pounded like a warning drum. He'd carried shadows all his life, dark family secrets no one dared speak aloud, secrets clawing at the marrow of his bones. And now, standing in front of this gentle stranger, that storm's edge scraped close. Something about Lily's innocence, her light, cut deep, stirring pain and something darker. Unseen, across the bustling street, a figure watched, eyes cold, sharp, like broken glass, tracing the girl's every move. The kind of stare that twists the stomach, that pulls bruises into the soul. No one else noticed, too, caught up in their rush or burdened by their own ghosts. But Lily's breath hitched, a tremble in her fingertips as she glanced sideways, just in time to catch the stranger's piercing eyes, warning of trouble no one else could see. No words passed, just a charged silence, thick with fear and curiosity. Lily felt a lump rise in her throat, her heart twisting with sudden, unexplained dread. Yet still, her smile stayed, a fragile shield against the cold, the noise, the unknown. The crowd surged forward. Ethan lingered a moment longer, then offered a slow, hesitant nod before slipping back into the river of faces. But the connection, the unspoken promise, lingered between them, fragile and urgent. Outside the gleaming towers, beneath the city lights that shimmered but couldn't warm, the invisible threads of a hidden world began to pull tight. Loyalties would be tested. Truths buried deep would claw their way into daylight. And innocence, so rare and bright, might be the flame that burns it all down. Lily's eyes didn't leave the stranger's haunting gaze. What silent danger was creeping closer? What price would they all pay for the secrets draped over their lives like shadows? The city whispered around them, loud, cold, and unyielding, but something fragile and fierce was about to break through. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Lily's heart raced as she held the stranger's gaze, trapped between fear and the flicker of hope she saw reflected in Ethan's eyes. She wanted to scream, to break the suffocating silence that clung to her like a second skin. But before she could pull herself together, chaos erupted. A loud crash shattered the moment. A delivery truck barreled down the street, tires screeching as it swerved to avoid a cyclist. Panic rose in the air like smoke, bodies scattering in all directions. The street transformed into a whirlpool of screams and hurried footsteps, thick with the smell of exhaust and fear. Lily instinctively took a step back, her flower stand teetering. Ethan reacted faster, lunging forward as if time slowed just for him. His hands grasped the edge of the stand, steadying it and her trembling frame all at once. "Get to safety," he shouted, his voice slicing through the chaos. But just as she moved, she felt a jolt, a nasty shove from behind. She stumbled, and in that split second, a figure slipped past her through the chaos, heading straight toward the truck. The cold glare of the stranger who had been watching her burned in her memory. They were moving fast, too fast, as if they were on a mission. "Stop!" Ethan's shout rang out again, a desperate plea, but it was too late. The figure collided with the truck, and in a flash, Lily saw a glint of metal, a knife. Panic twisted her stomach as the world seemed to freeze. The driver's eyes widened. The truck screeched to a halt. A sickening crash echoed as the rear doors swung open. From the depths of the truck, men in dark clothing rushed out, their faces masked, weapons drawn. Tremors coursed through Lily as she realized this was no ordinary robbery. The air filled with imminent danger, thick and suffocating. "Lily, run!" Ethan's voice broke through the haze. He was moving, pushing against the tide of bodies, his resolve crystallizing. But she was frozen. Fear wrapped around her like barbed wire. The scene exploded into chaos. The masked men shouted orders as bystanders screamed, darting away like leaves in a storm. But among the fear, one thing pierced through the madness. The knife-wielding figure was not just a stranger. Lily's eyes widened in confusion and horror as they pulled off their mask, revealing a face she knew all too well. It was her older brother, Daniel, missing for years, fought dead. A wild look danced in his eyes, frantic and desperate. "Lily, they're coming for us." Shock battled with recognition, and an icy dread sank deep into her bones. Questions flooded her mind, a whirlwind of disbelief and pain. Daniel was alive, but why now? And who were they? Ethan glanced between them, his expression shifting from concern to alarm as the situation spiraled. He reached for her, but a shove from the crowd sent them apart. The world around them became a blur, and Lily felt a sharp pull towards her brother, now caught in a dangerous game. "Get down," Daniel shouted, his voice slicing through the chaos again, and without thinking, she dropped, instinctively obeying. A bullet whizzed past above her, shattering a shop window. Glass exploded, scattering like deadly rain. Screams rose as the crowd pushed back, desperate to escape the mayhem. But amidst the chaos, Lily's mind spun with the revelation of her brother's return, colliding with the brutality unfolding in front of her. Why had he come back like this? What had drawn the danger right to her? The weight of their secret slammed down harder than any bullet. All the while she could feel the tension coil tighter around them, a storm building, threatening to unravel everything. What was about to happen next? What hidden truths would break free in the chaos? As the fight escalated, Lily found herself standing on the edge, caught in the intersection of her past and the turmoil of the present. And she had no clue how it would end. Lily's heart pounded in her chest as she stared at her brother, a wild mix of confusion and shock coursing through her veins. She could barely process what was happening. The chaos, the gunfire, her brother's frantic shouts cutting through the din. Everything around her felt surreal, as if she were trapped in a nightmare that wouldn't end. Why was Daniel back, and why like this? He caught her eye, and for a moment, fear gave way to something softer, a glimmer of the bond they once had. but the world around them exploded with urgency. The masked men were advancing, yelling orders, their weapons glinting menacingly. "Stay down!" Daniel barked again. Lily pressed her face to the cold ground, her breath quick and shallow, unsure of what to do next. Then another gunshot fired, echoing like thunder, punctuating the skies. She winced. As shards of glass rained from the shop windows, each fragment a reminder of the danger closing in. Panic rose like bile in her throat. Through the chaos, Ethan reappeared, his face grim and determined. "Lily, we need to get out of here." He reached for her, but she hesitated. Her brother's presence anchored her, yet danger pulsed in the air like voltage. Suddenly, out of nowhere, an ear-splitting explosion rocked the street. The ground shook, and a nearby building's outer wall shattered into a rain of bricks, hardly missing Ethan. People screamed, scrambling away from the shockwave. Amidst the fray, something swept through Lily, a hurricane of emotions, fear, confusion, and a flicker of hope. She glimpsed Daniel again, his eyes flooded with urgency. "They're after something. We have to." Before he could finish, the figure in the crowd, the one watching her earlier, emerged like a ghost, fury igniting their face. As they rushed forward, the air thick with dust and chaos, a chilling recognition struck Lily. It was her mother. "Daniel, what are you doing?" she shrieked, her voice lost in the frenzy around them. Her mother had vanished years ago, leaving them in silence and shadows. Why was she here now, amidst all this mayhem? "Lily," her mother shouted, eyes darting frantically. "You have to come with me. They're coming for all of us." The snarled pull of family loyalty twisted Lily's insides. Her brother was alive, her mother was here, but what world had they stumbled back into? As their lives collided, the sense of safety shattered. Then suddenly, Daniel lunged forward, producing a hidden gun, and fired it into the air, a deafening shot, aimed not at the attackers, but at a crumbling structure nearby. "Get down!" he yelled, but it was too late. The building shook again, walls crumbling down. A deafening sound engulfed them, drowning out screams, smothering everything around them. Lily stumbled, unable to process the chaos. Dust choked her breath. The weight of memories and lies collapsed on her. What was her brother hiding? What secrets had her mother buried? How did everything intertwine in such a twisted web? And then, in the thickening smoke, she caught a glimpse, a glint of metal, something that fell from the wreckage. The knife her brother had wielded moments before, now nestled in the debris, taunting her with unspoken truths. Instinctively, her feet began to move. Where would she go? Who could she trust? As people scrambled past, fighting to survive, Lily's gaze flickered between Daniel and their mother. The sense of danger drummed at her, but there was something else, an inevitable pull toward the truth. "Why are you really here?" she shouted, desperate for answers. "What are you hiding?" But before either could respond, another figure, cloaked in shadow, emerged from the haze. The man who had been watching earlier. His cold eyes met hers, and then a low voice echoed through the debris. "You don't know anything, do you, Lily?" The world turned upside down. Disbelief crushed her as she caught her breath, feeling the weight of uncertainty crush her spirit. How deep did this hidden world go? What secrets would come spilling into the light? The air crackled with tension, leaving her gasping on the brink of a revelation that could shatter everything they knew. What truth lay at the heart of this ugly chaos? What price for their innocence? Lily's breath hitched as the man's cold eyes pierced into hers, a chill welling in her chest. "You don't know anything, do you, Lily?" he taunted, voice low, his presence eating away at her sanity. She shook her head, confusion swirling like smoke. Had they really dragged her family into this blood-soaked chaos? Every instinct screamed to run, yet curiosity chained her feet to the ground. "Who are you?" she shouted, her voice barely a whisper beneath the cacophony of screams and gunfire. Daniel and their mother were moving closer, eyes wild, trapped in a vortex of tension and emotion. Had they somehow invited this danger? The figure stepped forward, lips curling into a smirk. You've been living a lie, girl. Everything you think you know is wrong. That's enough. Daniel's voice rang out like a crack of thunder. He pushed against the tide, gun raised. Get back, but the figure only laughed, shaking their head. You think you can protect her? You've done a terrible job so far. Lily's heart raced. A lie? What could possibly be a lie about her family? What do you mean? She shouted, desperation blooming in her chest. Everything. The stranger nodded toward her brother, eyes gleaming with something darker. He's not who you think he is. Time slowed. The world shrank down to just them. What do you mean? She demanded, voice shaking. Daniel, what is he talking about? Before he could answer, the ground shook wildly beneath their feet, the second explosion sending debris flying. Flames licked the air, making it hard to breathe. People screamed, scrambling, fighting their way out of chaos. Get out of here, Daniel urged, voice hoarse, gripping her arms tightly. Lily, listen to me. But the danger flashed in the stranger's eyes. You think a brother's bond is enough? So naive. What do you know? Daniel snapped back, his face glistening with sweat, eyes frantic. Let him go. Their mother's voice sliced through the air, thick with emotion, desperation. Lily, trust us. But trust? It felt like a roller coaster plunging into darkness. I don't understand what's happening, she cried, fear coiling tight in her chest, making it hard to breathe. Suddenly, the masked figure surged forward, shattering the tension, chaotic orders mixing with screams. The masked men had regrouped, aiming their weapons, and then everything flipped again. The world exploded around them. A heartbeat of silence before another thunderous blast sent everyone flying. The ground trembled as the remnants of their reality shattered. She was thrown back, the heat licking her skin like a cruel fire. Lily felt herself soaring through the air before crashing, hard, against a cold surface. Pain shot through her leg, the frantic chaos drowning her senses. As the dust began to settle, bewildered cries pulsated in her ears. Lily pushed herself upright, eyes scanning the wrecked scene. A wall of flame now blocked her view of Daniel and her mother. Panic spiraled rapidly in her chest. Dan, Mom. But then the world shifted again. Emerging from the smoke was a figure she hadn't expected. It was her father, alive. Decades of memories flooded back. Smiling faces, laughter, warmth. A stark contrast to the wreckage before her. But something felt off. His eyes were hollow, haunted. Lily, you have to come with me. A lump caught in her throat as her heart pounded louder. Confusion and disbelief collided within her. You've been gone, all these years. Not my choice, he spat, urgency flooding his voice. You need to trust me. They're here for you. No, she cried out, struggling to process. Why didn't you come back before? Why now? But the flames raged, the hidden truths twisted around them. Was her entire world a lie? Who could she trust? The terrified faces of her brother and mother blurred in her mind. The air dripped with uncertainty and dread. And when she spotted the cold figure from before, lurking again, everything shifted. You don't know what you're part of, do you, Lily? The words echoed hauntingly, pressing her towards the truth. What price would she pay for revelation? What darkness had been lurking all along? Each second dripped like poison, leaving her breathless and strained with questions, teetering on the edge of a life she thought she knew. Lily's heart raced as she gaped at her father, disbelief flooding her veins. Dad, how? What are you doing here? Confusion clouded her thoughts, twisting like smoke around her. The chaos raged behind him, the roar of gunfire mixing with the distant sirens. Everything felt like a fever dream, blurring edges of reality. Lily, we have to move, he shouted, urgency coloring his voice. The look in his eyes, haunted, desperate, sent fear spiraling through her gut. He reached for her, fingers trembling. She could see the sweat on his brow, the shadows beneath his eyes. They're here, They know about you. But before she could respond, another explosion echoed through the streets. The ground quaked violently, sending bricks and dust flying. People screamed, scattering like leaves in the wind. Lily stumbled, grasping for balance, fear clawing at her throat. "Dad!" In the haze of confusion, a new voice pierced through. A figure emerged, weaving through smoke like a snake. It was him, the man who taunted her earlier, that dangerous glimmer in his eyes. "You think you can protect her, don't you?" he spat, his harsh laughter ringing like a bell in the chaos. "The truth is far more complicated." "Shut up," Daniel growled, stepping in front of Lily, gun raised. "Get away from her." But the man just shrugged, the smirk never leaving his face. "Oh, you poor fool. She doesn't even know." He pointed a finger at Lily, venom dripping from his words. "You're just a piece in a much bigger game." Her head spun. "What game?" she demanded, voice trembling. "What do you mean?" Before he could answer, a gunshot rang out, echoing like thunder. Lily flinched, her heart racing. When she looked up, her father had jerked back, hand clutching his shoulder, blood seeping between his fingers. "Dad!" Panic surged within her, knotting her stomach. But then, chaos exploded again. The masked men were moving closer, shouting commands. "We need to get out," Daniel yelled, pulling her toward the alley as her father sagged to the ground. Pain etched across his face. Panic clawed at Lily. "What's happening?" she cried, the room spinning. Her father's face, pale, desperate, caught in her memory like a haunting painting. But just as Daniel turned to shield her, an unexpected sound caught their attention. A low humming, then a bright flash. She squinted against the light, eyes wide. Drones whirred overhead, casting shadows over the wreckage. The masked men flinched, confusion spreading among them. Then one of them raised a hand to his ear, a panic-stricken look darting across his face. "We're compromised. Retreat." Lily's heart pounded furiously. This was their chance. But what was happening? Drones? Who were they working for? It happened fast. The moment of chaos turned into blinding speed. Daniel grabbed her arm, yanking her away from her father. "We need to go." But Dad, her voice cracked, feeling the weight of betrayal and fear rushing in. "Trust me," he shouted, dragging her further into the alley, the distant rumble of the drones echoing in their ears. Suddenly, piercing sirens screeched close, blending with the chaos. The world seemed to close in, swirling with dread. They stumbled into the next block, gasping for air, hearts racing. And then Lily froze. Someone ahead stepped into the light. It was her mother again. Eyes wide, breathless, panic flashing across her face. "What are you doing?" she shouted, her voice cracking. "Mom." Lily gasped but felt her heart drop when she saw the surprise rapidly shift into fear. "Run. Lily, get away from them. They'll find you if you stay." Her mother took a step back, something shimmering between her fingers, a knife. It all clicked. The cold figure watching from the shadows, her brother, her mother. It was all connected. "What did you do?" Lily screamed, realization crashing over her. "The past isn't what you think," her father shouted, finally catching up. "They're coming for our blood." "Who?" Fear slipped in like ice water. And in that moment, the world flipped again. The man who had been stalking her, the one stirring all the chaos, advanced, and in his hand he revealed a small, engraved emblem. It was the same one she'd seen on her mother's old locket, forgotten in a box of childhood memories. "Everything you know is a lie, Lily, and there's no way out." Lily's heart dropped, confusion melting into hysteria. "What?" And just like that, the world around her began to spin. Who could she trust? What had her family hidden? The pieces fell apart, leaving her gasping on the edge of a revelation that rocked everything she thought true. What was about to shatter next? Lily's breath caught in her throat as her father, eyes wide and wild, gripped her hands tightly. "You have to listen. They've been watching you," he insisted, urgency coursing through his words. "You don't understand what's at stake." "What's at stake?" she shouted, her voice trembling. What are you hiding? The angry tears blurred her vision. Each revelation felt like shards of glass, wedged in her heart, painful yet undeniable. But before Daniel could answer, the ominous figure, the one lurking in shadows, glided closer. That unsettling smirk still plastered on his face. This isn't just about your family. You're part of something much bigger, Lily. His eyes glinted with malice. And you won't escape it. Who are you? She demanded, fierce and terrified. What do you even want with me? Your bloodlines are the heart of it all, he sneered. Your family holds the key to a power that could drown this city in darkness. The air felt dense, wrapping around her like a vice. She shook her head, desperately trying to cling to the safety of her family. What power? What key? Suddenly, a deafening roar cut through the chaos. A massive black van skidded to a halt nearby, tires screeching against the asphalt. Her heart sank. As the rear doors swung open, revealing a swarm of masked figures, rifle barrels glinting under flickering streetlights. Get down, Daniel shouted, instinctively pulling Lily away as chaos erupted again. Run, her father yelled, urging them all forward. But the unfolding disaster turned her instincts upside down. Was her father truly an ally or just another pawn in this twisted game? Before she could make sense of anything, another explosion thundered, drawing attention back to the alley. Glass and debris rained as reality fractured into chaos. This is it, Lily, the taunting figure shouted over the din, pointing a finger as if sealing her fate. You're closer than you think. Your fate has been written in blood. With a surge of adrenaline, Lily turned to flee, but then she froze. Every instinct screamed for her to run, yet something deeper, curiosity perhaps, rooted her to the spot. Just as she was about to turn back, something inside her shifted. Wait, she yelled, feeling her voice strain against the roar of chaos. What do you mean by blood? The stranger chuckled darkly, a sound that sent chills racing down her spine. If you really want to know who you are, just look around. In that moment, her gaze snapped to her father's face. A flicker of recognition twisted within her. Something about him was off, an edge she hadn't noticed before. Dad, what are you not telling me? His expression darkened, mouth opening to reply. But just then, the masked figures charged, forcing them to scatter. Follow me, Daniel shouted, dragging her through the alley. He was gripping her wrists so tightly it hurt, his eyes wild with fear. But they didn't get far. A sudden flash of fire lit up the street. Gunfire erupted, bullets puncturing the night like angry bees. Move, move, Daniel yelled, adrenaline pushing them forward. But all Lily could think about was the man's last words. Bloodlines? What did that even mean? The way her father hesitated. Was he hiding something monumental? Then suddenly the world flipped once more. In the chaos, her mother shouted, rushing forward. No, stay back. The sight stole Lily's breath away. Her mother was not just clutching a knife, but another emblem dangled from her neck, identical to the one Lily had seen earlier. Mom, what's happening? What's the truth? But before her mother could answer, the sky burst open with fire, blinding light exploding around them. A loud explosion sent vibrations through the pavement, the shockwave throwing her off balance. Lily fell, and as she looked back, the figure of the man who had taunted them faded into the smoke. But not before whispering, "You're not ready for the truth of your lineage, Lily. But it's coming for you." Darkness consumed her, the chaos of the alley erased. But a new reality took root, a reality teetering on the brink of the unimaginable. She could feel it creeping closer. What had she ignited? What secrets, too heavy to bear, would soon erupt into the open? As the last threads of her hometown shattered around her, she couldn't shake the reflection, the overwhelming question lingering in her mind. Was her family truly the key to her survival, or the very reason for this catastrophe? What would happen when the truth finally clawed its way to the surface? Lily blinked as the smoke began to lift, casting everything in a surreal haze. Her father's voice, strained and desperate, echoed in her mind, but clarity felt miles away. Who could she trust? Lost in confusion, she searched their faces, but the chaos around them drowned everything out. "Dad," she gasped, reaching for him, but he was already pulling her back, his face lined with panic. "We have to go, Lily." The urgency in his voice was palpable, laced with something darker, something unspoken. As they stumbled deeper into the alley, the sirens blared louder, but their surroundings grew quiet, as if the world paused to listen. And then, like a rip in the fabric of reality, time stretched. It was the figure again, the man with the cold eyes. He hovered at the edge of the chaos, unfazed, watching her with a smirk that twisted in the shadows. "You really don't know what's coming, do you?" he taunted, stepping forward, his presence inexplicably magnetic and terrifying. "What do you want from me?" Lily shouted, frustration boiling over. The heat behind her words forced a lump in her throat. "Your life, sweet girl," he replied casually, as if they were sharing tea instead of standing in a battlefield of broken glass and shadows. "Everything you think you understand, it's all backwards." "Shut up," Daniel yelled, pushing Lily further away, suddenly fierce. "Don't listen to him." But the man laughed, his eyes glinting as if everything was a game. "Tell her then, Daniel. Tell her the truth. Or should I?" "Stay back," their father barked. But the tension in the air thickened, and suddenly, Lily's pulse quickened, not from fear, but anticipation. "Tell me what," she commanded, shocking herself with how firm her voice felt. The world swirled around her, but she needed answers. "What is all of this?" "Everything you are, a pawn, a tool in a game played by those who watch from the shadows," he said, gesturing grandly, as if presenting a stage. "Your parents are hiding the truth, Lily, and it infects everything." What truth? She was on the edge, ready to scream. She had caught glimpses of secrets, a dark web woven with lies. But was it really her family at the center? Suddenly, the man's expression shifted, a glimmer of something genuine crossing his features. "Fine, I'll show you," he said, raising a hand. The air crackled as he produced a small, familiar locket, a faded emblem dangling from the chain. Lily gasped, recognition washing over her like ice water. That's my mother's." "Indeed," he replied, eyes narrowing with intrigue, "but it's not just a trinket. For years, it's kept a secret, and soon that secret will unravel." Before she could respond, everything exploded again. The ground shook violently, throwing Lily to the floor. She braced herself, waiting for the pain, but instead, she felt a strange warmth radiate through the chaos. Then, the shocking truth spilled forth, like a floodgate giving way. The locket unfolded, revealing an intricate map etched into its surface, the symbols glowing faintly. And in her mind, visions surged forth, dark memories that weren't hers, twisted events, unearthing themselves like specters from graveyards. She saw her father, young, full of life. Shadowy figures congregated, murmuring sinister plans. She saw her mother, eyes flashing with despair as secrets were traded like currency. In one horrifying instant, she felt their pain, their fear. And within that flood of chaos, realization struck. "I'm not just a part of this. I'm at the center," she whispered, the weight of that truth crashing over her. A key. But just as all seemed lost in clarity, a blinding light burst forth from the locket, overwhelming her senses. It engulfed her, pulling her into an abyss where time twisted, and everything she knew teetered dangerously on the brink. The last thing she saw before the darkness took her was her father's face, filled with something she couldn't decipher: fear, regret, or something else entirely. When the light finally receded, she found herself alone, disoriented, in a place that felt impossibly alien. Shadows danced around her, whispering secrets she had yet to learn. What had happened? Did she just bear witness to her life unraveling, only to lose herself in the chaos? As reality swirled again, a chilling thought struck her. Was she even who she thought she was? The locket's soft glow lingered like an echo, promising revelations that could end or save them all. Would she embrace the truth, or would it consume her whole? Lily blinked, squinting against the dim light that pulled her from darkness. The haze of chaos faded, revealing a small concrete room. It felt cold and empty, a vast contrast to the noise from before. She looked around, disoriented. There was no sign of her father or Daniel. Panic bubbled within her. "Where am I?" she whispered to the air, but the room offered no answers, only echoing silence. She touched the locket still hanging around her neck, the engraved map warm against her cool skin. It pulsed gently, almost alive, like it knew something she didn't. A door creaked open, drawing her attention. A tall figure stepped inside, shimmering like a ghost in the dim light. It was her mother, but she looked different, haggard, worn, her eyes flickering with an intensity that sent chills down Lily's spine. "Lily, Mom!" Lily rushed forward, desperate for comfort, but her mother stepped back, pressing her palm against the doorframe. "You shouldn't have seen that, not yet," she said, urgency twisting her features. "Seen what?" Lily's voice trembled. "Where's Dad? Where's Daniel?" "Hush, you need to listen." Her mother's gaze flared with fear, and Lily felt that familiar knot of dread in her stomach. "You've been brought here for a reason, but this is not the truth you need right now." "What does that mean?" Lily shouted, feeling the walls close in. She had never seen her mother so frantic, so scared. "Why do I need to be protected from the truth?" "Because it will change everything." Her mother's voice rose, laced with desperation. "They're coming for you, Lily. They want to use you, your family. We're all tangled in a web you don't know about." Just then, the door rattled violently, and both of them jumped. "Keep her quiet," someone shouted from outside. But panic twisted through Lily. Who were they? "Mom, we need to get out of here. Please." She could hear shouting. Harsh voices approaching. "You don't understand," her mother exclaimed, her breath hitching. "Your father and I—" "Mom, please, just tell me." But before she could answer, the door burst open, slamming against the wall. A man burst through, tall and menacing, eyes scanning the room. He held a weapon, pointing it like a serpent ready to strike. "Let's go, now." Lily felt her heart racing, pounding against her ribs. "What? Who are you?" He glanced briefly at her mother before sneering. "No time for questions. Move." But something about the situation felt off. The man looked tense, agitated. He kept glancing toward Lily, and that's when it hit her. Fear gripped her as the realization shot through her like lightning. "You don't want to hurt me, do you?" The man hesitated, his brow furrowing for the briefest moment, almost as if contemplating a different choice. "Just be quiet," he mumbled. Then he leaned close to her mother, voice low and urgent. "You should have kept her safe." "Safe from what?" Lily demanded, feeling the walls close in on her. The door swung open again, this time revealing Daniel, wide-eyed, blood on his shirt. "Get away from her," he shouted, rushing toward them. But before he could reach her, the man turned, eyes blazing with fury. "Stop!" And then it all transpired in a heartbeat. Her mother's face paled as she reached for Daniel, but he lunged forward, fueled by something primal, something desperate. "Don't you dare!" "Daniel, wait!" Lily screamed. But it was too late. A shot rang out, deafening. Daniel fell, hitting the ground with a thud that echoed through the room. Time slowed, the world freezing for just a heartbeat. Her mother's scream pierced the air, raw and shredded. "No!" Lily rushed forward, but the man stepped in her way, blocking her path. "Stay back." But she pushed past him, kneeling by Daniel's side. "Please, don't leave me." Tears streamed down her face as confusion and despair churned inside her. "Lily," he gasped, blood seeping through his fingers. "The locket, it's—" And then he went still. The world shattered around her as shock crashed over her like a wave. Her heart raced, her vision narrowed. Everything twisted, reality shattered. "No, no, no!" She shook him, hands trembling. "Wake up, please." But it was useless. And then a terrible realization washed over her, wrapping around her like chains. Daniel had known something. There was a truth buried deep, twisted in family ties. As the panic surged, She looked back at her mother, whose face mirrored Lily's horror. "What did you do?" Lily whispered, the weight of betrayal pressing down on her. "What have you hidden from me?" But before her mother could reply, the man's ominous voice reverberated in the room again. "You've unleashed chaos. Get ready. It's only just begun." And in that moment, as Lily held Daniel close, everything changed. She realized the game was never about her family alone. It was about her, too. The girl who had thought she understood her life was now a vessel for secrets that could bring everything down. What did this really mean for her? As shadows danced in her vision, she gripped the locket tighter, feeling its warmth pulse against her palm. Would the truth set her free, or would it destroy everything she ever knew? Lily's heart raced, pounding against her ribs like a drum. She couldn't tear her eyes away from Daniel's still body. It felt as if the world had stopped, like everything faded into silence, but the chaos still raged around them. Her breath was shallow, panic clawing at her throat as everything she'd known twisted inside her. "Daniel, please, wake up," she choked out, shaking him, desperate for any sign of life. He remained limp. Tears streamed down her face, each drop heavy with heartbreak. Her mother stood frozen, a statue of pain as she fought against the horror unfolding. "We need to get out of here," she screamed, reaching for Lily but glancing nervously back at the door. "My brother is—" The words caught in Lily's throat, an icy grip of despair wrapping around her heart. How could this be happening? The noise outside was overwhelming, sirens wailing like some lost creature in pain. Suddenly, a ferocious roar sounded, like a beast unleashed. The man who had burst in before looked alarmed, shifting his stance, eyes darting toward the door. "They're here." His voice was sharp, breaking the frantic air like glass. He turned back toward them. "We've got to move, now." "No," Lily screamed, retching back. "I'm not leaving him, not like this. Trust me, we don't have time, they'll kill you if you stay," he shot back, urgency crackling between them like static. Her mother reached out, but the panic mirrored Lily's own. In that moment, something strange happened. The locket around her neck pulsed violently, like a heartbeat, radiating warmth that cut through the fear. A flash of light enveloped the room, and Lily stumbled back, covered in a blanket of gold light. The man shielded his eyes, and her mother gasped. When the light faded, it revealed a shimmering figure standing behind her. Another Lily. No, wait, a version of Lily, but older. She looked wiser, worn but powerful, eyes sparkling with a fierce clarity. "You must listen," the older Lily said, voice firm and steady. The man gaped, jaw slack. "What the hell?" "You need to know the truth," the older Lily continued, stepping closer. "You're not just a bystander. You're the key to everything." "Key?" Panic and confusion swirled inside Lily. What does that even mean? Before the older version could respond, another floor-shaking explosion rattled the room, sending dust and rubble cascading down. Screams echoed outside, muffled but growing closer. The masked men were coming. "Focus," the older Lily urged, reaching out, grasping Lily's hands. "You must harness what's within you. Only then can you stop this from happening over and over." "What's within me?" Lily asked, fearing the answer, but the older woman's face softened. "You're part of a legacy, a powerful bloodline. Your life was never random, and you've inherited more than you know. Much more." In that moment, the man shouted, "They're going to breach. We have to go." "No," Lily felt a surge of defiance. "I won't run anymore." And then came the fate-shattering moment. The older version of herself smiled, revealing something behind her. "Lily, you must choose. Hold on to your fear, or embrace your power." With that, she stepped into the light, merging with Lily, an overwhelming rush of memories and identities crashing over her. The pain, the secrets, the truths, they flowed through her like fire ignited. In a flash, everything changed. She could feel power crawling up her. spine sparking in her fingertips. It tingled, urging her to release it. She was more than just a girl selling flowers. She was a force. Now, the man shouted, pulling them toward the door. But Lily stood firm, a new resolve hardening her features. Wait, I'm not running, not from them, not from any of this. Her mother's eyes widened, an unspoken warning curling on her lips. Lily, don't. But the sirens drew near. The door rattled violently. You don't understand, the man yelled. Don't I? Lily shot back, heat rising in her voice. This time it's my turn to take control. The door flew open, and a group of masked men flooded into the room. Gunmetal shine reflected off Lily's fierce gaze, and in that moment, she finally understood. The choice was hers. With a surge of newfound power, she raised her hand, electricity crackling across her fingertips. You want me? She roared, the words escaping her like thunder. The world held its breath. What would happen next? Would she wield this power and change everything? Or would it consume her whole? Lily stood tall, her heart pounding like a war drum as fear twisted around her. The masked invaders had stormed the room, weapons drawn, and a terrible tension pressed down hard like the closing in of storm clouds. She felt the raw power crackle through her fingertips, pulsing in tune with her heartbeat, urging her to unleash everything she had within. Enough, she shouted, voice echoing through the chaos. The words seemed to ripple through the air, bending reality around her. The masked figures froze momentarily, surprise etched on their faces. Stand down, the man barked, panic flickering in his eyes as he stepped back. But Lily wasn't backing down, not now, not ever. You think you can control me? You're wrong. Anger mixed with determination, igniting her spirit. She could feel the power surge, coursing through her veins, heating her blood until it felt like fire. The older version of herself, the embodiment of wisdom and strength, stood behind her, a steadfast presence, urging her forward. Embrace it, Lily. This is your moment. With a single outstretched hand, she summoned the energy within her. Bright bolts of light erupted from her fingertips, illuminating the dim room and pushing back the shadows lurking in the corners. The masked figures shrank back, eyes wide with disbelief as the light danced like a storm, filling the room with warmth. Now, her mother yelled, snapping Lily back into focus. We have to escape. Lily glanced at her brother, still lying on the ground, and the pain sliced through her, piercing and real. Daniel, she murmured, heart aching. She wanted to save him, but she couldn't let the fear consume her. The weight of the world was shifting, and something deep within was awakening. Go, we'll come back, her mother urged, giving Lily a gentle push toward the doorway. But she hesitated, torn between two worlds, the power surging within her, and the lingering love for her family. No! In one sweeping motion, she turned to face the masked figures again. You've taken enough from me, she declared, pouring every ounce of emotion into her voice. The lights above flickered in response, as if resonating with her determination. And I won't let you take anyone else. All at once, she released the light. It burst forth in a tidal wave, cracking through the air with a deafening roar. The figures staggered back, shields thrown up in desperation. But the light engulfed them, cleansing the shadows they carried. Screams erupted in the room, not out of fear, but from disbelief. The masked figures vanished into the glow, consumed by the purity of her power, leaving only echoes of their dark whispers lingering in the air. As the dust settled, she gazed around the room breathless. Her mother swept toward Daniel, kneeling beside him, fingers trembling as they checked for a pulse. Hope and fear etched across her face. Come on, her mother begged, voice barely a whisper. Lily rushed to her brother's side, knees hitting the cold floor as she grabbed his hand, feeling the warmth of life beneath her touch. Daniel, please, don't leave us. We need you. And then, in the stillness, something flickered. The faintest pulse beneath her hand, then another. His eyelids fluttered, a soft groan escaping his lips. Lily felt her heart leap, joyous relief crashing over her in waves. Daniel, you're okay. As he blinked, confusion clouded his eyes. Lily? Mom? What happened? Just rest, her mother urged, tears streaming down her cheeks as she cupped his face. Lily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the entire world begin to lift. Together, they were unbreakable. The older version of herself stood at the edge of the chaos, watching with pride. The choice was always yours, Lily. As the past began to fade, Lily understood she was never alone. They were a united force, and in that moment, they knew they could withstand anything. Let's go, she whispered to her family, ready for the next chapter, the one they would forge together, uncolored by shadows of the past. In the distance, sirens blared, and a new dawn awaited them. As they stepped through the doorway into the light, her heart felt full, and for the first time, she wasn't afraid. She would own her power and whatever lay ahead, together. Watch. Hey, before you go, I have an urgent call to action for you. You have to subscribe right now, so you don't miss any of the next exclusive stories unfolding. Smash the like button right now, because it really helps me with the algorithm. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this ending. Let's hear what you think. And seriously, don't wait even one more second to share this with at least 5 friends who need to see how this all wraps up. Your support makes all the difference.